Massive headway has been made in New York for Donald J. Trump. Does he have what it takes to swing the state? Before you answer that question, you have to check out these numbers.
Set off sirens. All right, this is union households. This is Democratic margin in presidential election. It ain't what it used to be. You know, you go back to 1992, Bill Clinton won that union vote by 30 points. Hillary Clinton only won it by 12 points back in 2016. That was the lowest mark for a Democrat since 1984, Mondale versus Reagan. But look at where Kamala Harris is today. She's only leading by 9 points. That would be the worst Democratic performance in a generation, 10 points off the mark of Joe Biden, who, of course, won 4 years ago, was sort of that union guy, Union Joe, right? Won it by 19 points. She's 10 points off his mark, and the worst in a generation, if this, in fact, holds, Sarah.
It is interesting to note that the difference between this, and Biden still won.
Still won.
But those numbers are significantly down. All right.
The numbers that are coming out of the national union vote are absolutely terrifying the Democrats. And now we've got new polling coming out of New York and New Jersey that's putting that terror on steroids. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Take a look at the latest Rasmussen polling coming out of New York. Now, this is a running average, meaning it's the average of the polling that they've been doing on a daily basis now for weeks. Right now, Kamala is leading Trump by just 11 in a state that Biden won by 23 points. There is no other red state that is even remotely the inverse of that. We're not seeing Trump lose his support like this in otherwise deeply red states. Kamala is now leading Trump in one of the bluest states in the nation by less than half of what Biden got in 2020. Kamala, as we speak, has lost more than half the margin that Biden was able to win the state by. Now, what's ironic here is that we've been seeing this pattern for weeks now in New York. Back in June, when Biden was still the nominee, Lee Zeldon, who came within just a few points of getting elected as governor of New York, he had a piece in the New York Post arguing that Trump does indeed have a very good shot at doing the unthinkable, of actually flipping New York.
This would be absolutely colossal. If Trump were to pull off New York, he can lose about 3 more swing states and he would still hit 270. The most interesting thing regarding this is that RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he wants his name back on the ballot only in New York. For one reason, he's teaming up with Donald Trump, and they probably had a mutual agreement. Yeah, if we want to win New York, you need to pull some of those Democratic voters. Because if he could pull away about 4%, 5%, then this is a toss-up. This is an absolute toss-up election in New York. I'll tell you what, I'm from New York. I'm living in New York right now. He's got my vote. He's got my entire family's vote. It just seems that the tide is shifting in New York. People are feeling the pain in their pockets whenever they go to the store. People who didn't even bother voting back in 2020, they're coming out now because now they feel the effects.
10 points, which was putting him within 6 points of Biden at the time, just outside the margin of error. Again, Biden won New York by 23 points in 2020. Trump in June had come within earshot of actually make it inside the margin of error. And Zeldon was arguing at the time that Trump had more of a chance of upsetting the Democrats in New York than any Republican since Bush Sr. back in 1988. So these numbers coming out of Rasmussen, obviously now with Kamala in the race, are more par for the course than the exception in terms of the polling coming out of New York this election cycle. But what's so interesting is that we have comparable numbers coming out of Jersey. Take a look at this. Kamala's lead now, according to Rasmussen, is down to single digits in New Jersey. Again, as a point of comparison, this is a state where Biden won by 16 points. And once again, what's the pattern we're seeing here? Kamala's lead is getting cut in half. Her lead is half of what Biden's margin was. So as it turns out, this halving of Kamala's margins is a key analytical frame for understanding what's really happening here. Because here's the real takeaway from all this, okay? It's not so much the issue of whether New York and New Jersey are in play. That may indeed be the case. It may be. It's a stretch in my view. It would be the ultimate outcome imaginable in this election. But what's so important here is that that's not the key takeaway from this. The key analytical takeaway here involves another state. Another state that has comparable voting demographics to New York and New Jersey. Think about it. What other state, or better, what other swing state, what other battleground state has demographics comparable to New York and New Jersey? Well, that, of course, would be none other than Eastern Pennsylvania.
Trump lost Pennsylvania in 2020, but I don't know if I actually believe that, because there was funny business going on, I believe. But the thing is, a lot of these states, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, if you looked at a map of the electoral votes by county of these three states, you would see it's almost all red with a few blue spots. The problem is those blue spots are the cities, Philadelphia, Newark, New York City. What I think Trump needs to do, Trump needs to go into New York City, Philadelphia, all these places, host a couple rallies there, because I'm convinced if he did something like that, he would skew the numbers just a little bit, a couple percent, that's all he needs. So I'm not sitting here saying that Trump is going to win New York. All I'm saying is he's got a chance, a real fighting chance. And if I've learned one thing from watching Donald Trump these past 8 years, it's to never count this dude out.
Is that Kamala's shrinking margins in New York and New Jersey are most likely crippling her in eastern Pennsylvania, in counties like Bucks County, where I used to live. Bucks County is a New York sleepover county. A sizable portion of Bucks County residents, they commute to New York for work. So in effect, they're New Yorkers, but they're a bit more conservative. They obviously prefer living in Pennsylvania than they would in New York. And they tend to vote a bit more to the right than their ilk in New York, or Jersey for that matter. Of course, much of northern Jersey is a sleepover region as well for New York. So here's the big takeaway. If Kamala has lost half the Democrat margin in New York and New Jersey, what then would polls look like if the same pattern applied in eastern Pennsylvania? What would the polls look like in the state as a whole? Take a look. While Rasmussen has been surveying New York and New Jersey, these are the polls that have been coming out of Pennsylvania over the last week. Fox, Trump +1. Emerson, Trump +1. Atlas Intel, the most accurate pollster of 2020, Trump +3. Insider Advantage, Trump +2. Trafalgar, also one of the most accurate of 2020, Trump +3. And Patriot Polling, Trump +1. Now again, make no mistake, we've never seen numbers like this for Trump in Pennsylvania 30 days out from an election. We didn't see this in 2016. We didn't see this in 2020. We didn't see it in 2016 when he won the state. We didn't see it in 2020 when he, quote, lost the state by 80,000 votes. We've simply never seen this before. And that's because we didn't see the Democrat losing half their margins of support before. So where is this hemorrhaging of support coming from? Well, you saw it at the very beginning. CNN's polling analyst, Harry Enton, is sounding the alarm that Kamala Harris is seeing the lowest support from the union vote of any Democrat in a generation.
In a free and fair election, I think Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania by 10 points. And I'm not just saying that to exaggerate. I believe 10 freaking points. He looks out for the people, the union workers. What happened on the very first day in office for Biden and Harris? They shut down the Keystone Pipeline in Pennsylvania, canceling how many jobs? Thousands upon thousands? That happened on the very first day. Nobody seems to mention that anymore, but that is a pivotal piece of information that is being forgotten about. So we know Biden and Harris are not good for the middle class and they're not good for the working class. In my lifetime, I have not seen one president look out for the middle class as much as Donald J. Trump. What he's implementing on doing, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. He wants people working. He wants people to be a boom to the economy. I mean, it's clear. Would you rather live in a world where you get penalized for doing your job? Or would you rather live in a world where the more work you do, the better you do, the more you get paid? But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Do you think Donald Trump can take 2 out of those 3 states? New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania? I think he's got Pennsylvania in the bag, and I'm hoping for New York. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below, and if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.